stop, Dave. I'm afraid.
Why don't you play us something, baby? Why don't you play us something? Why don't you play us something, baby?
Start? I don't feel so good.
It's fucking molten!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Movie Epidemic podcast. I'm your host, Buck Hollywood LeDuc, joined by, as always, over Zoom, Chandleys.
Big shout out to Zoom for fueling this madness. I've now officially been on quarantine. I actually finally got laid off from my day job.
Wow.
I've been on quarantine for 4 days, and I feel like I'm going to fucking kill somebody soon, I think.
Really? I really like it, because it hasn't really changed my lifestyle that much.
You're lucky that we're not doing it in this studio, because I would be strangling you right now.
Ooh, a classic murder suey, hey?
Yeah, dude, a murder suey would take place, but I might not do the suey part. I might fucking do the murder part,
just continue the murder
and then
spree.
chicken out on the suey part.
Wow, that's very Chandlery of you.
There's no way you'd ever know.
Guess not, except for when I'm in hell watching the highlights, dude. Watching the televised highlights in hell.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Burning in hell with my good friend Satan. Hail, hail! Thank
Hail,
you for
Satan.
these sweet gifts.
Thank you for your sweet gifts, Satan. Welcome to the Movie Epidemic podcast. As pronounced earlier, I'm Chandlery.
That's what it
which
says on
is
Zoom.
in fact
You can go watch it on the YouTube right now and see his name, Chandlery.
That's what, when I typed in Chadley on Zoom, that's what it autocorrected to, and I was like, yeah, all right.
Close enough.
Sure.
Alrighty. So what are we talking about today?
Oh, hey, Podcast Spot 5000.
Hey,
How
what's
are you
up,
doing on
Chadley?
quarantine?
Killing it, loving it. I love to just whack off and be a podcast, bot thing. Creature. I'm a creature.
Yeah, Podcast Spot 5000. I need
Oh,
you
shit,
to
what's
settle
going
the
on?
fuck down.
Oh no, something's happening to Podcast Spot.
Is he jerking off?
No, he's turning into some sort of monster. It's me, Demon Podcast Bot.
No, I don't like this podcast.
This is a new
Spot. Don't
character
like
that
this.
I'm working on, Demon Podcast Bot.
You're disgusting. You're almost as disgusting as the real Podcast Spot. Can you tell us what we're watching?
I have claws and talons and wings, black wings. I have black wings. I've got talons. In my
really
beak,
great.
in my
man.
beak,
I
I
just
have
need you
the
to do your
list of
job, man.
I have the list of movies this week, and since we're not going to the theater ever again, they just releasing all this shit. So we got Bloodshot, The Hunt. What were the other ones? I guess we got High and Low, and there was definitely another one. Oh yeah, the Netflix original, The Platform.
Yes, tons of interesting stuff this week, man. Okay, Demon Podcast Spot 5000. I need you to settle the fuck down.
He flew away with his
all right?
giant black wings and his talons.
Does he have talons? I'm not there to see it. Does he actually have talons?
Mm-hmm.
He said it, but I don't believe him.
Good stuff.
Does he have talents?
Yeah,
This is the question.
Yeah, they do.
Oh.
They were there.
Sick, dude. Fucking sick, dude. You
Disgusting.
should euthanize him.
Nasty. He die.
Dude, just put him down.
Like
Just
a
take
little
him to the
tiny
vet and
robot
get him-
boy that
get
has
him to put
black
him down.
wings. The vet is where you think I should take him, and not the fucking robot factory.
Just go in and be like,
sex
I'd like to
doll
euthanize
factory."
this robot. And when they say what's wrong with it, just say don't like it.
Don't like it. It's got talons.
It's got talons and black wings. I don't like it anymore. So what do we want to start with today? You want to start with Bloodshot?
Sure.
Yeah, this movie is very bad.
Bloodshot. I mean, I drew a little picture.
Of Vin?
Mark Sinclair, aka. There he is.
Thank you. Oh, that is so beautiful. Thank you for blessing us with this picture of Mark Sinclair, aka Vin Diesel, aka Bloodshot,
aka Vinny D, aka Bloodshot,
aka Bloodshot. So let's talk about this movie realistically, because this movie, I'm so disappointed because all of the pieces are here for this to be a fun, stupid thing.
Are they? Are they?
Yeah, like the idea, like conceptually, this should be good,
What
or
this
at the very least, conceptually, this should be watchable.
this brought me
Right?
back to a time when green screens were different and superhero movies were treated with a little bit less respect. This feels
Is
like
it?
a
It feels 2005. Yeah.
2005. Yeah, that's the time because they got good at like 2009. So like it's just like it's a little out of place. I think we talked about this when we watched maybe Venom or something, but it just
Yeah.
feels like it's out of place. It's from a different time period. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it feels like an alien made it in a time warp.
It feels like Bryan Singer made it 15 years ago.
But let's talk about some of the positives here. To be
What could
fair,
that possibly
there
be?
aren't many. Let's talk about some of the positives. The first positive you take away from this, Vin Diesel obviously loves this.
Well, that's the weird thing about Vin Diesel is he's only been in 3 different movies in the last like 10 years, and they've only been ones he likes, like that Dungeons and Dragon movies, Fast and Furious, and this.
Yes. And he must be a fan of the comic book or something, because I couldn't imagine him reading this script and being like, "Oh, I
Yeah,
gotta get in."
Well, he's
on
like a big
this."
nerd, right? So he must know about Valiant Comics, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, I saw it at the end and I was like, I don't know. I wrote it in my review. It's based on the Valiant comic book, but
Literally
I don't
never
know.
heard of that. I'm not that big of a comic fan, but I've never heard of that company. I looked it up though. And hey, you remember that old shitty video game company, Acclaim Entertainment?
Oh yeah, they did the Mortal Kombat ports, I think.
Yeah, it's that. It
Oh.
used to be that, and then they got into comic books.
Oof, yuck. So that means that this isn't even a tried and tested comic book hero. This is a comic book hero that's been around for less than 20 years.
Yeah, you know what?
And they're like, movie this bitch.
Yeah, movie this motherfucker. Well, that's because every comic book company's like, we need a shared universe. That. You know what I did notice when I first turned on this bad boy? About 1,700 different production company logos.
Yeah, tons, dude. Tons. Loved it. Universal was up there front and center, but then there was like, was it this? No, this was, The Hunt was Blumhouse, but.
No, this was Sony, Columbia, Bona Film Group from China, Cross Creek Original Film, which we watched last week with Spencer Confidential.
Right, that was
original film. That's the Fast and Furious production company. That I think
Is
Vin
it?
has
Oh,
something
okay.
to
So
do with,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that one makes sense. But then there's
Vin's got his finger in original film.
yeah, he does, because like that's the group of guys that bring all of the fucking Fast Furious movies. So they're like, we got our prize hen, our beautiful prize hen. Vin Diesel.
Vin came to them and was like, "Hey guys, we need a little bit more money," and they're like, "Vin, anything for you, my guy."
Anything for you, Vin. Because we have 17 production companies on this thing already, and China's footing most of the bill. The Bona Film Group, so Chinese, dude.
How much money do you realistically need for a movie that looks like this? Like,
Dude.
how much money do you need?
There was so many
everybody
times where
pitching in a 20? Like,
there was times where I gasped at what was happening on screen because it was like.
So that's one of the first picks that we're gonna make. This movie looks like shit, dude.
Oh,
It looks so bad, like, and it's so crazy because every fight scene, it doesn't look like they're there, and that's a problem.
you know what it felt like to me? This felt like they were trying to make like an Alita Battle Angel thing.
Kind of.
Do you know why I say that though? Because like the KT character is someone from Alita Battle Angel that looks like Alita Battle Angel but isn't her. You know, they so desperately wanted to get that girl, for that character. And it's like everything about it was like that fakey kind of like plasticky looking CGI. It
yeah,
just
and
looks
I
terrible.
think they were trying to make it look like an old comic book movie, but comic book movies look better now for a reason.
But why? My question.
Yeah, my first thing that I wrote. This is just like with the way every scene is lit. This is a Michael Bay looking ass movie, but without the good special effects. Just like the way that it's lit, it's a Michael Bay ass looking. This looks like 13 hours.
It's a Michael Bay.
The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi.
Oh, dude, I love Benghazi.
You don't. The Johnny K movie, you don't. I've heard your review of it. You didn't like it. Didn't like it.
I get confused.
I also do love that.
Oh, I was thinking of Jack Ryan with Johnny K.
Oh, which
also
I do
famously I don't like.
Vin Diesel has the voice of a god though, and like every time he opens his mouth, he's like,
"It's me, Vin Diesel."
Vin Diesel, and you're like, Jesus Christ, is that Kratos? Like, who the fuck? What? Who talks like that?
Why doesn't he play Kratos in the God of War movie when that happened?
Whoa, what the fuck? Why hasn't that happened? I'm pissed now.
Now I'm riled up, actually.
I'm riled up. Like, you know what? And I bet you if you called him and said, we're making a God of War movie, he wouldn't even ask you to pay him.
The problem with that, though, is like whoever owns the rights to God of War would be like, too old. And it's like, no. He'd be perfect.
Well, I don't know, because the newest God of War game, Kratos is really old, and it's the highest rated one.
Maybe. I don't know.
So I
never played any of those games.
They could do like the new one with Kratos super old. And have Vin.
I'll do anything to have Vin or movies, but he just simply will not be in movies that aren't called Fast and Furious.
Yeah, you call him up, you're like, "Hey Vin, we got a movie for you," and he's like, "Does it got cars?" And they're like, "Well, no, not interested."
Is it about family?
Is it about Because this movie has that weird affinity with cars too. There's a lot of car scenes in this movie. They're not like nice cars like in Fast, but he's driving a lot.
You know what's crazy? We fucking hired Guy Pearce again to play that same fucking Iron Man 3 character. The fuck is going on?
We hired Guy Pearce to play the same fucking Prometheus character again.
We famously didn't like that character, and they're like, let's redo that guy because he was great.
Absolutely. What was that? The Mandarin?
Mandarin.
Yeah, he had an actual name, but he was the Mandarin, and he breathed fire. But in this one, he's just got robot arms or something like that.
Doc Ock, dude.
Yeah, he's maybe Mandarin, but also Doc Ock. But the thing is, he's Guy Pearce, and he's fine. That's always how I felt about Guy Pearce. Every time I see him, I'm like, he's fine.
That's true. I don't understand how he's like been pigeonholed into like a science guy though. To me, I look at Guy Pearce, I'm like, that guy works on the docks and smokes cigarettes, dude. That guy doesn't know anything about science.
That dude wears a sailor hat unironically.
That dude looks like fucking Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse. Like, it seems like he would have.
And he seems like crazy.
Guy Pearce is the most blue collar looking motherfucker on the planet, dude. That guy looks like he works in a factory, dude. He's a tech CEO at some sort of company that's undescript.
yeah, it's just a company that makes, what is it, like electronic limbs, like robot limbs?
Yeah, it's some sort of company.
Podcast Bot.
And
Don't let Podcast Bot know. He'll try and replace the leg I ripped off.
Let's not talk to him about that, dude. And he's like, there's one point where he's like, "You used open source code in my $1 billion project." Like, they're just using buzzwords, dude. They're just like trying to make it sound like a company that does tech stuff. It's like, yo, unless you're Google, you're using open source code. Or
I was gonna say you're a tech guy, so does that sentence mean anything to you?
It means that they don't know, whoever wrote this doesn't know what the fuck open source means. But I digress. That doesn't matter. That's a thing that does not matter at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So, did you ever watch The Bourne Identity and be like, you know what, this is good, but I want to watch it again, but shitty? That's what we got here.
It is kind of like that, yeah.
It's kind of Bourne-y because, like, essentially, it's this guy who's being used by this big company to do assassinations because he's lost his memory and they're using his memory against him. Yada yada yada. And something about a wife. Not a wife.
Well, it's they implant false memories. Everyone they want him to kill. And
that's a great idea. What an awesome
not bad.
idea for
that actually is not bad.
Like like if you're gonna do a movie like this, that's the route to go.
But I mean, this is supposed to be like a franchise. That's one movie worth of content.
Yeah, but like, there's not enough here because, like, here's the problem: is like the concept is fine, but you can't have them do nothing for the first 45 minutes if you're gonna make.
I was like
90.
half an hour in. I'm like, why is nothing at all happened?
45 minutes goes by before he takes that truck and he's like, "I'm on my way." Although there is one scene I like in this movie. Do you know what that is?
What's that?
It's the scene where they're in that like fake space, and Guy Pearce is all like, he's like, what is it? He says, this is revenge is what drives men like you. And Vin goes, you don't know nothing about men like me. That's the shit. Because Vin is going so hard in that scene.
Vin always goes way harder than necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Vin
to
truly
the point where
thought, like,
he's
maybe
out
I'll
of
get an
place
Oscar.
in every movie.
But then, like, this movie also has like that problem that some comic books have, where they try and put in jokes that aren't funny because they're like, it's just a joke anywhere, just a joke to lighten the mood when it's serious. Like that guy who was trying to use the tech to make his dick bigger.
Oh yeah, right. Then,
Yeah,
dude. Then there was like,
I don't know if I knew that.
then like an hour and 20 minutes in, there's like another character. He's like, "Hey, I'm Wilford Wiggins," and I'm like, "Who the fuck is this? You're introducing a new character an hour and 20 minutes into this hour and 40-minute long movie? What's going on here?"
I like Wiggins, to be fair. I do
think he's a good character. Introduce him sooner.
Yeah, maybe have him do something.
He's obviously Bloodshot's man in the chair, but like, where was he for the first hour and a half?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this movie is made up of quite a few action scenes. We talked about how they look green screened, because they do. They don't look very good, but also they're also like just in the worst places that I don't want to see people fighting. Like the final climax is in a hallway, and I'm
Right.
oh no, you can't have them fighting in a dimly lit hallway.
Yeah, this movie looks like shit. The locations are there's nothing going on in this movie.
This movie's just got nothing going for it, and it's unfortunate because you have all the pieces here. Look, if you give me the concept and say this is what they're doing, they're brainwashing him, they're changing his memories to try and get him to revenge-driven murder people, hey, that's the concept. But you need to wrap that up in 10 minutes and then have him do some stuff. Because that takes 45 minutes, and then by the time you get there, he doesn't really do very much stuff. He just sort of like is like, I'm on the run now, and they catch him pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
And then he just kills them all. And man, gotta work on your villains in this movie, because they suck, dude. The villains in this, it's just like four creepy rapist looking guys.
That's a couple Johnny Genericos right there.
Yeah, where did you get these creepy rapist looking guys with these shitty half beards?
Where did you get these
Where'd
classic
you find all those?
Johnny Genericos?
Did you go to like a fucking did you go to a fucking White Snake concert and just point into the crowd? Where the fuck did you get these guys?
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. And then like there's the scene where they're barreling down the elevator shaft.
Right.
And like,
boy, did that look not good. It was
looks
all
green
animated.
screened and bad.
It was pretty much all animated.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best part of the movie.
I guess.
Which is unfortunate because it's not good either. I just this movie is so disconnected, and that's the problem. Is that you can tell that they want you to care about the characters, but they don't do anything to earn it. They're just like, here they are, like them. This is my favorite note that I've got written down here, and I just said, wait, hold up. Does Vin's character have a name? And then in brackets, I put a thought I had 90 minutes in. Because, like, I think he does. I think he does have a name, but it's Ray. That's what his character's name is, Ray. But I don't care about this character at all.
Uh-huh.
And I certainly don't care about Kate. Because KT is a weird character, because it seems like she's been doing this with this company for a while, and all of a sudden she's just White Knight for no reason. She's White Knighted for no reason.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I also have a really good note that just said, stupid ass power suit shit. Fuck, this is hacky.
You know what? The first thing I noticed when I turned on this bad boy,
What's that?
They had a bad guy dancing scene, do the most classic bad guy dancing scene song of all time, Talking Heads, Psycho
yeah,
Killer.
Psycho Killer.
That's right. They even mention it at one point in it and call it hacky. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's so. This movie is hacky. That being said, we've talked a lot of shit about it, but at the end of the day, it's at least entertaining to watch Vin do what Vin does.
I don't think so. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
I think that Vin's performance is enough to make this movie almost not quite watchable, but almost watchable. Because Vin is eating it up, dude.
Chewing it, dude.
Yeah, he's chewing up the scenery. He loves being here, and that in turn makes me kind of like being here also.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna give this one 2 stars, Chadsky scale.
I'm gonna give this bad boy a 1 star on the Chadsky.
Extremely not good content. What do we want to talk about next? You want to talk about what do you want to talk about?
You want to do the hunt?
Yeah, let's talk about the hunt, because oh boy, do I ever hate this.
Did not like this, hey?
Didn't quite tickle me. The hunt didn't quite tickle me, because here's the thing about the hunt is that this movie could have just given us the same concept that we've seen hundreds of times,
Hunting
like Ready
humans?
or Not, Final Girls. I'm sure there's more, but it's like the concept is these rich people take poor people out to their giant
Well, yeah, it's
mansion,
the most
and then they
dangerous
hunt
game,
them
right?
for sport. You know?
The most dangerous game
that's-
from like the 50s.
Yeah, it's like the most dangerous game, except that movie is good.
That movie is good, yeah.
And actually,
and it's an
Ready
hour.
or Not is also good. And you could have given me just a cut and paste piece of shit, you know, like a working class citizen as heroic shit, and it would have been a fine 2 to 3 star. I would have probably forgotten about it. But now you've imprinted in my brain, but not in a good way. Now you've pissed me off, because what they do is that they do give you that plot line. And then about halfway through the movie, now stay with me for a second, this movie becomes like a weird pro-Trump, pro-gun thing, because all the heroes are like Second Amendment reciting, MAGA hat wearing pieces of shit. Like they actually go out of their way to say that they've been racist and said the N-word. Like they go out of their way to tell you that about your heroes. And you're supposed to be like, well, ain't that just a good old piece of American pie, you know? Like that's how you're supposed to feel. And
Well,
then
I did find
you
it
get the
I did find it interesting that they almost never give you anyone to care about until like halfway through the movie when they're like, I guess we'll just stop on this character for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, they were spinning the wheel. They were spinning the wheel, and they're like, okay, let's try this guy for the next 15 pages. No, I don't like this guy. Let's try this girl for 15 pages. Spin the wheel.
Dude,
okay,
it was like
this girl,
it's
this is the
funny
one.
too because it was like famous people at the beginning. You got like Emma Roberts, and then you got like Ike Barinholtz for way too long, way too
Dude,
fucking long.
I liked Ike
Barinholtz.
Barinholtz in this movie, dude. When he stopped being in the movie, I stopped caring.
Oh, you turned it off, hey, when he gets killed. Damn.
Yeah,
But
then you
one
have
thing
on
I
the
will
other
say,
side.
one thing I will say that I did like about this film, the deaths were pretty fucking gory and disgusting, and I did like that.
That's probably the one takeaway if you had to have one. But then on the other side, you have the villains, and I'm not even kidding you. They say liberal snowflake maybe 10, 15 times in this movie, and they're people who. Now, let me make this very clear. These are characters who are belittled and brought down by the narrative itself for believing in climate change, for believing that women deserve equal pay and the right to vote. Like, these are people who are literally chastised for having these views in this film.
Well, it is kind of like I think the thing that's like the problem with this movie is it's making fun of kind of everybody, but mostly liberals, and like, and I can see why, like, people were upset that this movie was coming out. You know?
Yeah, because like here's the thing: is like that's your movie can have a political opinion, but not if the political opinion is just wrong.
Oh, well,
Like not if if it's wrong.
The
you
thing about
can't.
this is it's like it's making fun of everybody kind of, and it's so centrist.
Well, yeah,
it's so
especially
such a
near
centrist
the
piece
end.
of shit movie.
Like near the end, it sort of abandons like its political affiliation, and then becomes sort of like a centrist thing where they're like, we're all the same inside, and I'm like, ugh, yeah, gross.
Dude, the only thing I hate more than a conservative is a centrist, dude. Pick a side, you motherfucker. Pick a side,
like,
coward.
Well, then you have the bad guys, which are made of like this motley crew of like Hillary Swank, okay, Hilary Swank, what are you doing? And like Glenn Howerton, I didn't even know that guy still worked.
Yeah.
I thought that guy was done.
Right. I wrote down, that's the first thing I wrote down. I wrote down Dennis Reynolds, question mark. Because it barely
I wrote
looked like
Glenn
him.
Howerton works, question mark. That's also my first note. But yeah, you got Glenn Howerton in this movie. And man, here's the thing. Look, I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's one of my favorite shows. Glenn Howerton can't act, though.
No, he's not the best.
ter-
He's the Jerry
he's
Seinfeld of that show.
Yeah, yeah, he's fine in that show. I think like the way that he portrays his character is fine for that show. But in something else where he has to act, that doesn't do it.
What
I do like though is that they introduce the concept to you by killing off a bunch of people right away. That I do like.
Yeah.
Like you have all these people, you kill them off right away. You don't introduce any of the characters. You just show them Emma Roberts.
Throwing them on spikes, which we love. Shooting them with arrows, which we love.
Yeah, absolutely. And but then the movie gets weird once we have the Ike Barinholtz character.
Yeah.
Who like I wrote down a line that he said that I thought was so funny because they're in this gas station trying to explain to these gas station attendants what's going on and that they're being killed and shot at. And at one point he's like, "What? You got grandkids? Show me a picture of your grandkids." "No, I'm just kidding. I don't give a fuck. Give me your money."
Hell yeah, dude.
And Ike Barinholtz is so funny that delivery works. And then they're like, "Oh, this is too enjoyable for the people to watch. So let's give them the most boring main character we could possibly come up with. A girl who has nothing to say. Absolutely nothing to say." She walks around, she goes,
dude.
"Yeah, that's for me." And you're like, "Oh God."
Who was the other, like the guy that was like he had a podcast and
Dude,
he was basically
Ethan Suplee?
Yes, the fucking My Name Is Earl guy. Dude, he was like the Alex Jones of this movie.
Yeah.
Talking about crisis
Alex
actors and
Jones
shit. Dude, yelling about crisis actors. I was actually laughing at that because that's such an Alex Jones thing.
And Ethan
These are
Suplee,
crisis actors.
You know what I love about Ethan Suplee is that he is literally a member of Mensa and he only does shitty comedies. Like
That's
what?
true.
What an insane! He's one of the smartest people on the planet, and he only does shitty comedies. I appreciate it.
I like that he's like lost half of himself. Quite thin these days.
Yeah, it's true. He doesn't look as big as he did when he was on My Name Is Earl. But this cast, like every time someone's introduced, you're like, "Wait, hold up, that's a famous person." What
Dude,
the fuck?
everybody's famous in this. I noticed that too.
It's one of the to the point where I can't believe these famous people looked at this script and said, "Ah, yes, this is the one."
There was a point where I stopped pointing out famous people because I knew every person was going to be famous.
Yeah, but then the movie gets even weirder once they decide that it's a it becomes a vengeance-driven movie, which is okay, that's usually how these go, whatever. But there's a scene where the main character explains to an old man this story about a rabbit and a turtle, like the turtle and the hare or whatever, and it goes on for so long. Oh my God, it's 7 minutes of her telling this story, and I'm like, I've heard this before. I do not need this.
Yeah, and then it's at the end it becomes like an allegory for George Orwell's Animal Farm, and I'm like,
Animal Farm.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoever wrote this is an asshole.
Yeah, it became an allegory because here's the thing: they aren't even subtle about it. They tell you. They look at the camera and be like, "This is an allegory of Animal Farm," and you're like, "Fuck you, man!
I don't care. Seen it.
Fuck you! I don't give a shit.
Never read it, but seen it.
I've read the book. It's good.
I watched the film.
Yeah, it's weird to me that they would spend so much time protagonizing things like racism and the fucking gun control, ugh. And as somebody who is a liberal, it was icky. It was icky because these characters are supposed to be the heroes, and all they do is talk about how much they think that America should go back to the good old roots with slavery and guns and all that.
A lot of fun. I didn't care about any of this. It felt like 3 hours. I was just
very
watching
long.
If I didn't have to watch it for the show, I certainly would have turned it off.
Well, and then for some reason, the main character, who they make very clear is like an automobile insurance seller or something, just becomes like the most well-trained
Hey,
ninja in
I wrote that
history.
down too. Why does everyone know how to fight?
Yeah, and then it just becomes too easy because she just goes into that compound and just starts like mowing them down with relative ease.
I mean, I think they mentioned that she was in the army, but to me that doesn't correlate into you being able to beat the shit out of someone, you know?
And then after like the final fight between like the main girl and Hilary Swank like looks at her and is like, "You're not so different, you and I." And I'm like, "Fuck you. Fuck you. Get out of here."
Dude, the fucking bad guys. Your conspiracy theories made it true. That's like
Fuck you.
fucking we're gonna hunt humans to own the republics.
Is that truly what conservatives think we think like?
No, it's the joke. It's the joke is that the conspiracy theories become true.
It's not a joke though. It ain't funny, at least. It's for damn sure.
No, it's not funny. It's a bad film.
Oh, I hate the fuck out of this thing. I'm gonna give it a 1 star on the Chadsky scale.
1 star.
One star. It's official, baby. All right, you want to talk? It's a new month.
It's
a new month. New director.
What director could that possibly be?
Akira Kurosawa.
One of the greats.
Now, I've only ever seen one Akira Kurosawa film, and now 2. And I'm so excited to get into this guy's filmography. Because we watched High and Low this week, and High and Low is such a fucking masterpiece.
Dude, one of my favorites.
I kept, when I was watching this movie, I kept thinking about Vin Diesel. You know why?
Why?
Because it's a Fast 5, baby.
This is a Fast
It was a
5?
Fast 5.
I thought you were going to say because he's as gruff as Mifune.
Dude, Mifune's so good in this movie.
He's one of the best actors of all time, no, like bar none.
Yeah, absolutely. So this movie, excuse me, this movie High and Low, Akira Kurosawa goes out of his comfort zone because he mostly makes samurai films and ninja films, right?
He makes a lot of samurai films, but I mean, if you really want to get down to his crime movies, I can show you those.
Wonderful, I'm in.
I would suggest you pick Stray Dog for your week.
Well, I've already picked mine for next week, but perhaps another time. So this movie is so good, like so unbelievably well paced, like maybe perhaps one of the most well paced.
Very
movies.
long, but I was like, I'm gonna watch like half of this tonight, and I'll think about watching it tomorrow morning. And when I got like an hour in, and it just starts rip rolling, dude, I was like, well, we're gonna watch all of this.
Yeah, because this movie, like, it goes down a bunch of really crazy avenues, like especially in that back half. Like that back half is like edge of your seat shit.
Well, it's interesting because the first half like almost takes completely. It's like completely in his house. It's like a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah. Like I remember watching it and even thinking like this could be like a play, and then halfway through I'm like, no, I think this can't be like a play anymore. It's something else now. This could only be a movie. Because like, oh man, this movie is so crazy, and it's so entertaining, and it's so driven by like the main character, but only for a little bit.
Yeah. So
that's
why
what
don't we explain what this movie is about?
Yeah. So what this movie is about is that you have this guy Gondo, and he is he's like a high up in a shoe company.
Yeah, he's like the factory manager, and he used to be a designer for National Shoe Company.
Yeah, and so essentially what he wants to do is he wants to buy up all the shares for the shoe company, and he's raised the money to do it so that he can become the CEO of the company with all the shares that he has and vote out all the people he doesn't like. And the day that he goes to give the 50 million yen, somebody calls him and is like, I've got your kid, and you have to give me 30 million yen or I'm going to kill your kid. And you're like, oh shit, because
right there, just that. You're like, oh, that's already great. But there's more layers to it than that.
There's so much more to it than that. Now, the thing that you know at this point is that he's mortgaged everything to get the money to buy those shares. So he's gambling everything he owns. So if he pays the 30 million, then he's fucked. He goes bankrupt, and you know, like probably like he doesn't have a dime to his name. Then, as if things couldn't get any crazier, his kid walks in the room. That's right. This dude who was trying to kidnap his kid snagged the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Snagged the wrong kid. It was his chauffeur's kid who was playing with his kid.
Yeah.
So now the chauffeur is like begging him, like, please pay the ransom. Like, I will do anything. I don't have that kind of money. Like, I just, like, you know, this is my kid.
Now,
And it becomes this crazy fucking like what's the word I'm looking for? Like moral dilemma.
right, and that's like a big part of like the first half is him deciding if he wants to pay or not, because like 30 million yen, that's like 3 million, right? I think like yen's like a 10 power off or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. Which 3 million, even then,
Still,
3 million
still a
in
lot.
63.
Yeah, and it's like there's like a really good part when the detective comes and he's like, There's never been a ransom higher than 20,000. This guy's deranged. This kidnapper's extreme, and I was like laughing so hard.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So then they do end up rescuing the kid, but the second half of the movie, you like this guy Gondo, he's gonzo. He's not in the movie anymore.
Right. Yeah, the perspective does kind of change in a weird way. But I don't know if we're that far yet. Man, this guy's got a lot of butlers. Hey, I wrote that down. I'm like, this guy's got so many butlers. Turns out they were like assistants and stuff. But
he's got the chauffeur. He's got like the right-hand man. A lot of butlers.
And this guy's got so many goddamn butlers.
I love the one guy who, like, the one butler, he's like, if I take over national shoes, you can be president.
Hell yeah, that's a lot of butlers. So basically the kidnapper wants the 30 million, and that like goes into like a really cool scene on the train when they make the exchange.
Yeah. I agree. Cause like they asked to meet him on the train, but the kid's not on the train.
Right.
But the best part about it is that the kidnapper hires heroin addicts to do the trade-off.
Yeah.
Oh man, like what a wacky movie this is. Like, this is one of my new favorite crime dramas of all time.
Hell yeah.
Like,
dude.
it's so good. And so then the second half of the movie becomes about them trying to track down the kidnapper.
Right, yeah, because they make the exchange
and regain the $30 million.
Right, and they want the $30 million back. Because at this point, Mifune he's destroyed. He's not working at the company anymore. He's just like cutting the grass and shit.
yeah, that scene where he's just sadly cutting the grass. I was like, oh, Gondo. This movie's weird too because they introduce his character and his plight, and they force you to like him before they tell you that everybody thinks he's a bastard.
Right.
And like at that point, you're like, oh man, they just don't know him like I do, and which is crazy. But that is what you think.
Yeah, and I do like when this movie like switches perspectives kind of to the detectives, like Boston and the other guy, because they're like really, they're kind of goofy and fun. So then it becomes like a cop drama like halfway through this movie, and it's just them like trying to figure out what's going down. So they like track down where they were holding the kid, and they find like these dead drug addicts, and then he goes into like this big like 15-minute monologue about heroin and like how
and purity of heroin,
and how he could have done this murder. And it's like it's actually like a pretty good like detective movie in the back half of it, and that's why I couldn't stop watching it because like
it's so good.
They actually are following clues and shit, and it's like this is the kind of detective movie that you don't really see very often these days.
Well, and like I think where most detective movies falter now, where this one really succeeds, is that they let you be a part of it. Like you're figuring everything out as the detectives are. They don't give you the answer. Like, that's one of my big problems with Silence of the Lambs. They just fucking tell you who Buffalo Bill is. And then the investigation shit's less fun.
Yeah, this like they occasionally show the kidnapper, and he's like freaking out and stuff like that.
But they don't tell you who he is.
They don't tell you who he is. They slowly reveal that he lives across the street from him. Like they don't even reveal his motive until the last 30 seconds of this movie.
Yeah. And man, because here's the thing is I was watching this and I'm like, this is a good 4-star film. The last 30 seconds of the movie, I was like, oh shit, it's a 5.
And then there's like that extremely long like end 20 minutes where they're like chasing him through like the club and
into like the hotel
alley.
and
Dope Alley. Remember Dope Alley?
Yeah, dope. They kept calling it Dope Alley. They got the note that says "Bring more dope, or I'll spend the money."
Yeah, it looked like a place that you would hang out. Dope Alley.
I actually do hang out there.
That's
that
a lot
exact
of fun.
one, to be honest.
So yeah, it's a pretty interesting film. It sounds boring, but it's not.
Absolutely not. It's 2 hours 25 minutes, which for Kurosawa, pretty short.
Pretty short
but,
for Kurosawa. Pretty short.
But it grabs your attention early on, and it does not let you get off the train. I really love this movie. I think this is a perfect 5, dude.
Absolutely, I agree. 5-star film. I've seen this before, but I'm like, I remember watching it. I'm like, oh, Chadley will love this movie, so that's why I put it on today. Because I could have picked any other samurai movie. I'm sure we're gonna watch a bunch of samurai movies this week or this month.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down with a bunch of samurai movies, but I'm glad we got this one. I'm glad you picked this one because you're right. This is exactly my shit.
Absolutely. Very noir.
Yeah. Shall we talk about our last film of the day?
Absolutely.
Are you ready to hear my probably to date the most glowing review I've ever given a film?
Maybe. Ever? You loved this, hey?
Let's talk the platform. This movie is so fucking good. This is like one of the best movies I've ever seen.
You loved it.
Dude, The Lighthouse is garbage compared to this, and I love The Lighthouse.
Wow.
This movie is so good that I'm gonna tell you what happened, okay? I watched it on Friday, and then I spent all day Saturday being like thinking about it because it's so good. And then on Saturday night, I was like, no, I gotta watch it again just to make sure it's as good as I remember. Yeah. And I did. I watched it the next day again. I've seen it twice, 2 days in a row.
Hell yeah, dude. And that was like me and
Uncut Gems. Both times.
It's like when I watched The Irishman back twice in one day. It took me 17 hours.
That one's a little different because that movie's 3.5. This movie's 90 minutes. You can watch this twice. And let me tell you something that really, really solidifies how much I love this movie.
Wow.
It's a different movie the second time you watch it. That's why I watched it twice, because I knew it would be. It's a different movie the second time you watch it. It's almost more captivating once you know what it's all about. If you can even say you know what it's all about. That's what's crazy about this movie.
Got a lot of layers, dude. It's like an ogre.
Yeah.
Layers.
So one thing I noticed is about 1 minute into this movie, I realized that there was a shitty English dub.
Yeah, we watched like 5 minutes of the dub and I'm like, let's turn it off.
Yeah, I switched over to Spanish real quick and put on the subs. And that's the way to watch it. By the way, don't watch the English dub. Just watch it in Spanish with the subtitles. Because I had the subtitles on.
Yeah.
As well as the English dub, and because they're trying to match the mouth, it's not quite the same. So I always hate that when they do. This happened with I Lost My Body too, which is why I end up watching it in French.
Oh, I didn't even know that had an English.
It does. It's not worth it. Is that because the direct translation and the dub translation are different? It's jarring when the subtitles and the words don't match.
We are pro subtitles on this podcast. We always have been.
Yeah. So the first thing you're going to notice about this movie is that whoever is doing the sound design for this movie is a fucking master of some kind. Because everything that every sound that happens is there for a purpose. It's incredibly ambient.
Ambient.
It's incredibly ambient.
And that's a $2 word.
Yeah, it's a. I'll buy that for $1, says Vince McMahon. And as soon as that starts happening, because what this movie's about, I'm going to explain this, is that this guy wakes up in this bizarre prison/government experiment.
Yeah.
That's essentially, it's a layered prison, and they make this giant feast every day. And if you're in room 1, you're the first you get first dibs. And then they take whatever room 1 doesn't eat and give it to room 2, and then give it to room 3, and so on and so forth. But there's like hundreds of layers. There's hundreds of rooms. Right. So if you wake up in a room that's like 200, by the time the food gets to you, there ain't fucking nothing left. And so the movie becomes this really, really crazy turn of events. Like, especially because the characters interact with each other differently depending on which room they're in, because they change your room every month
Right.
to a random number. And so what ends up happening in this movie is that they're in room 40, which is like a fairly safe room. And it starts there. And the two main characters, you have shit, I'm trying to remember what the character's name is. Well, you have the main guy, and then he has this roommate who's like, I think it's Tamagasu, something like that.
That's very
Tamaguchi, something like that. Tamagotchi, something like that. And you have these two main characters, and they're talking about like the platform, which is like the thing that comes down with the food, and they're talking about the prison and how it works, and they become pretty close friends. And yeah, what is it?
Trimagusi.
Ah, yeah. See, that's Spanish. And so they become really close, and you get to choose one item to bring in to the prison. And the one guy chose a book because he's like, oh, I'll quit smoking, I'll read a book.
Right.
You know, if I'm in here for 6 months, so I'll read this book, Don Quixote, which I've never read.
I do like that the whole idea was that he is doing 6 months so that he gets a free degree out of it.
Yeah, like you can sign up, like you can go there like as a prison inmate.
Yeah.
Like by committing crimes, which is what happens with the other guy, whose name you just said, and I already forgot it, Tramagusi or whatever.
Definitely Trimagusi.
And like, because he like accidentally murdered someone, so he could go to psychiatric ward, or he could come here, and he chose here. But there's like an amazing part in this movie where he just starts doing a monologue about how crazy the world is,
right,
and like how every event leads to another event, and then at the end of the monologue, the other guy goes, "What did you choose to bring in here?" And he goes, "The Samurai Plus," and he brings out this giant kitchen knife.
That is a good scene. I was laughing very hard at that scene.
It's so good. And then like they're interacting with each other in like this very positive and happy way. They're both eating, they're reading books, yada yada yada. There's one part where Trimagusi like pisses onto the people below him, which is funny.
Very funny. A lot of fecal matter and pissing.
Yeah, lots of stuff like this. This movie is gross,
it's gross
and fucked up, but it's exactly my shit. I was telling my mom, because my mom was like, "Hey, I saw you gave this movie a 5-star." I was like, "Don't watch this. You will not like this. I promise you, you won't like this." And then like after the first month is up, they wake up and they're in room 170 something.
Yeah.
And so their relationship immediately becomes different and hostile and weird and uncomfortable and scary. Because this movie gets really scary.
Yeah, because when the food comes, nothing on there. They're at 170.
Nothing left.
Nothing there. No teeth in there.
So they have to figure out a way to survive for a full month. And Trimagusi comes up with this crazy plan to just like tie down the main guy and just take enough of his flesh off for them both to eat.
Just a little bit, just enough.
Just enough, and then treat the wound. Treat the wound.
Yeah, dog, treat the wound. A classic treat the wound scenario.
And then and then the movie bounces around quite a bit, because like at one point he's in room 8 at one point, and then eventually, because like there's this whole subplot about like this one girl who rides down as far as she can every month, to try and like find her son, because her son is in here and she's trying to find him or her. Maybe it's a daughter.
I think it was a daughter.
I don't know. There's a child.
Don't remember. There was a child though.
Yeah. And like there one of my favorite parts is like there's like a crazy montage, because like the music in this movie, by the way, is also masterful. It sounds like people banging on garbage cans and bells and shit.
Hell yeah, dude. What's that show in Vegas? Trash or Stomp?
Yeah, Stomp. It's a lot like that. But there's like an amazing montage where Trimagusi is like dancing on the empty table.
Uh-huh.
Dude, I'll love that. But also, fuck Netflix for making me watch this in 180p. Go fuck yourselves.
Oh, are they throttling the internet right now?
Yeah, dude, they're throttling the internet. I had to watch this in 180p, dude. Pixelated as shit. Now, the whole thing with this movie is that there is a million different ways to perceive what's going on here.
Yeah.
Are they dead? Like at the beginning of the movie, is this purgatory? Is this hell? You know, like what's actually happening here? Is this about ignorance on class divide? Is this about how like is this movie about bankruptcy? What is it actually about?
Well,
But that's what I love about movies like this.
That's also what I like about it. There's a lot of layers to it. What I liked about it is that it shows that socialism doesn't work and also capitalism doesn't work, because it's like when they try and get everybody to eat their own share, nobody wants to. But when you get to the top, you eat all the food. You know, so it's like,
yeah,
that's a lot of fun. But there's like so many of those layers where it's like any of this could be anything that you want it to be.
Now, again, I've seen this movie 2 times, and the ending, no clue, not a clue, just nothing. I got nothing on that. I have no interpretation of what the fuck that's about.
No, you don't even know if the panna cotta is the message or not.
I don't know if the panna cotta is the message. I don't know if the girl is the message. I don't know if the main character lives or dies. Does he greet death like an old friend? What happens at the end of this movie? But that's what I love so much about it, is that I'm going to be able to go back in 6 months, and I will, and watch this again. And be like, and get something completely different out of it.
Well,
you know?
And it does turn into like a kind of a cool like action movie at one point when they're riding down to the bottom with the panna cotta as the message.
Yeah, it's almost like The Raid.
Yeah, it is kind of like The Raid. It's like a reverse raid, or that one with Bruce Lee, Game of Death. That what
I love Game of Death. Yeah, where he's going up the tower.
Yeah, dog, and he fights Kareem.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Game of Death rules.
Yeah, Game of Death's so fucking good. We got to do a Bruce Lee month on the Patreon or something.
Hell yeah, I'm into that. But yeah, it's like that scene is but don't know. It's not even just like an action piece though. Like every single thing and every interaction is important. Like it's all metaphor. This movie's so soaked in metaphor that if you caught everything on the first try, you're a fucking alien.
Yeah,
I think you're an alien if you caught it all on the first try. You're in Mensa.
Are you Ethan Suplee, dude?
Are you Ethan Suplee in Mensa? Yeah, no, I don't know if I made it clear enough. Platform's a fucking masterpiece, dude.
Wow,
it's
you loved
unreal.
it, hey? Remember, I'm like, I'm gonna make you watch this movie, and you're like, I don't want to watch that.
You know what? Make me watch whatever at this point. Because here's the thing: the shitty movies we watched this week are the shit I picked. So the good stuff we watched this week is the shit you picked.
Yes, I'm very smart. Thank you. Everyone, clap for me. Everyone, clap.
Everybody clap for Buck Hollywood Leduc. I'm gonna give the platform a 5-star. Absolutely.
You know what? I gave it a 4 on Letterboxd, but I think you convinced me. I think you convinced me to give it a 5-star. That's
dude.
That's Movie Epidemic official.
That's a Movie Epidemic official. It's fucking unreal, dude. This movie is a masterpiece. And I remember like watching it and then being like, I will never stop thinking about this movie.
Oh,
so much
those,
so.
eh?
Because I texted you that. I said, I'll never stop thinking about this movie. It's a fucking masterpiece. And then I thought about it all day and watched it again. Dude, that's never happened on this show. As far as I can remember.
Wow, we've got a new favorite movie of all time. Crazy.
Dude, it's truly up there. I think I might watch it again tonight. Like, it's so good. It's so good.
Hilarious.
Hey, podcast bot 8,000.
Oh, this fucking guy. Disgusting.
Hey, Chadley's getting real riled up in quarantine. I'm going to need you to send an SOS for me.
Has he been lubing you up?
He's not been lubing me up. I've been begging him.
Damn,
he won't do it.
You must be a creaky robot boy over there.
But he has taken my arms off, dude. He took my arms off. He hit them. Hit them like Easter eggs. Can't find them.
Dude. Did he give them to the cat? Did the cat take them?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But on the next episode of Movie Epidemic Podcast, they're going to only be watching movies with one-word titles for some reason.
Guess so.
They're going to be watching Emma.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. They're going to be watching
Universal
Swallow.
released it, so it must not be good.
I don't know what Swallow is, but who knows? Who knows? And look, they tried to put it off, guys. They were trying to get past the season, but the thing is that unfortunately movies just aren't coming out anymore, so they're going to have to watch Doolittle.
Oh, thank God. Thank
They're
God.
gonna-
I want to see Robert Downey Jr. interact with a goose, y'all.
you guys, they're gonna have to watch. I'm sorry, audience. They're gonna have to watch Doolittle. They're also gonna be watching an Akira Kurosawa film called Rashomon.
Oh, thank God. Thank you for picking the 90-minute one. Thank you, Jesus.
They're also going to be watching Firestarter this week. So if you're on the $4 Patreon tier, that's going to be going up on Wednesday. Their King Epidemic review of Firestarter.
Absolutely.
That's a Stephen King movie starring Drew Barrymore.
Sure.
As well, if you're not on the Patreon, you can go and sign up at patreon.com/movie epidemic.
If you're listening to this, you're not on the Patreon, else no one signed up yet. So
no one signed up at this point. That's correct. But there is a review of Tommy Wiseau's The Room. It's live. It's loaded. It's locked. It's good to go. You sign up on the Patreon. You can listen to that today, as well as every future episode that's going to be posted every Wednesday and Friday. So make sure you check that out at patreon.com/movie epidemic.
Absolutely.
Buck, save me. Buck, drive over here and save me. Come and I'd like to quarantine with you. I don't want to be with. He's grabbing
Brad,
me.
turn him off. Turn him off. Turn him off. Turn him off.
He's grabbing me.
Unplug him.
Oh, thank you, Podcast Spot 8000.
God,
He's having a
absolutely.
He's having a good time.
Absolutely the worst thing I've ever heard.
He's having a good time. To be honest, we're hanging out. We're having a good time. I don't know what that was about. I also did not take his arms off. They're on. They're on his body.
I don't know. I couldn't see. He wasn't on video, so.
They're on his body for sure. So yeah, make sure you check that all out. We're popping off on social media right now: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have nothing to do except for curate our social media. So give us something to do.
Please
interact
give
with
me
us.
$4 on Patreon. Big. And if you're on the $5 level, we got a Star Trek episode out as you're listening to this. We got another one coming out on Friday. That'll be the first 2-3 episodes of Next Generation, if you count the first episode as 2 episodes. I don't know. I don't, but some people do.
It's one episode, isn't it? It's like 1 2-hour long episode. It's like a 2-parter, right?
Yeah, but in syndication they put it as 2 episodes, so they count them as 1 and 2. But I count them on Netflix as 1 episode.
Yeah, and you're right to do that. So yeah, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, all the places you listen. Apple Music.
Yeah, we have a link tree /movie epidemic that has all the links on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you can head on over just to movieepidemic.com. All roads lead to Rome. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we're back in the studio soon and we can get the fuck out of quarantine.
Well, Trump says that Corona's almost learned its lesson, so we should be back to work soon.
Here's the thing, though, is that as much as I don't like COVID, it has given me my favorite Donald Trump quote of all time, and that was last week when he's like, "We'll be back in churches by Easter.
We'll be back in churches.
What?
We got the best churches in the world.
We're gonna be back in churches by Easter." Whoa, guy, no, we're not. What the fuck are you talking about?
We're willing to sacrifice the old people for the economy. We've got the best economy in the world. The stock market is booming. It's not. It is not.
It's not, dude. And like a lot of people in the United States have this thing, dude. Like way too many.
They are not doing a good job. To be fair, they have a lot of people, but they are doing a bad job.
Well, to be fair, Canada's not doing a great job either. But
less
like
people. There's less
our
people.
leaders at the very least are being sensible. Like every time a leader comes out onto a podium in Canada, they like put their head in their hands and they're like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, guys, we told you not to leave your fucking house.
Yeah.
Stop it."
Yeah, we've got one where he's like, in fact, so many of you are leaving your house, I'm going to lay off 20,000 of you. Not gonna
including myself.
Not going to say any names. Cool. So that's the episode. Thanks, guys.